Let's talk now about gas. Gas measures how much work our code does. Any transaction that modifies the blockchain in any way costs gas. Any basic operation or data storage costs gas. The person that modifies the blockchain pays for the gas. We have two variables, the gas price and the start gas or gas limit. These two variables are attached to any transaction. Let's see what they represent. So the gas price is the amount of way the transaction sender wants to pay per unit gas to get the transaction mined or processed. So, for example, I could say I want to pay 5 way for an unit of gas. That means that I have a gas price of 5. Start gas or gas limit represents the units of gas this transaction can consume. This avoids denial of service attacks by setting the maximum number of computation steps of code execution. It's hard to estimate in advance how much gas a transaction will consume. An operation code, or simply an opcode, is a basic operation executed by the Ethereum virtual machine, such as addition, multiplication, and so on. We have a fixed gas value for every opcode, and to save 1 byte on the Ethereum blockchain, we must pay 5 gas. We can see all operation codes here at this address. So for example, if we add 2 numbers, we must pay 3 gas. If we multiply 2 numbers, we must pay 5 gas, and so on. Every operation has a gas value attached. I have a very interesting spreadsheet with examples of gas costs. You can find this document on the GitHub repository that is available for this course. For example, to deploy a new smart contract costs 32,000 gas. To save 1 million new contracts costs this very big value. If we want, for example, to save 1 megabyte to storage, we must pay this big value from here. One transaction, so to send a transaction, to call a setter function, for example, that modifies the state variables or something like that. So any transaction costs 21,000 gas. And here in this document, I have here the market price of the Ether cryptocurrency. So let's say that 1 Ether is $500 US. What does it mean? It means that if we want to create a new contract, we must pay 48 cents. If we want to save 1 megabyte on the blockchain, we must pay $9,375 US. This is incredibly expensive, almost $10,000 for 1 megabyte. If we want to compare two integers, we pay this amount of US dollars. Of course, somebody could say that how could we use Ethereum? We can use Ethereum because we won't save such a big amount of data on the blockchain. The Ethereum blockchain has another purpose: to run unstoppable, decentralized applications. Imagine that someone wants to save 1 megabyte of data on the Ethereum blockchain. That 1 megabyte of data will be saved on every Ethereum node. So this is unscalable. There are other solutions, for example, the interplanetary file system that can be used to save big amounts of data in a decentralized manner. I'll explain to you what the interplanetary file system is and how can it be installed and used in a bonus lecture. Then you must also know that the gas from all transactions in a block will be received by the miner that validates the block. And we must also know that Ethereum has a block gas limit rather than a block size. Bitcoin defines the maximum block of 1 megabyte. Here, we don't have such a definition or such a limit. Ethereum doesn't impose a limit. It imposes the maximum gas that all transactions in a block can consume. I have another example with gas. Let's say our smart contract has a function that executes 3 operations. A multiplication operation, that is the mul opcode, that costs 5 gas. An addition operation, the add opcode, that costs 3 gas. And an equality comparison, the EQ opcode, that is 3 gas. So in total, our function will consume 11 gas. And when I create and send the transaction, I say that gas limit is 10. What happens? So the transaction can't be mined because these operations cost more than 10 and I want to pay maximum 10 gas units. So this transaction will consume the gas and will fail. But if I say I want to pay maximum 10,000 units of gas, is there a problem? No, there is no problem. This doesn't mean I will pay the whole amount, 10,000 units of gas. I will pay only 11 gas. Of course, in order to execute a transaction or to deploy a contract, the account that executes or deploys the contract must have an Ether balance in order to pay for the gas. Let's see now how much Ether must the account pay in order to execute this transaction, in order to have this transaction executed, because the miner will validate the transaction and all Ethereum nodes will run the function. So we have a gas price attached to this transaction. Let's say the gas price is 50 gigaway. 50 gigaway means 50 billion way. So 50 billion way. Here we have 50 billion way. And now the transaction fee is 50 billion way multiplied with 11, the total gas the transaction will consume. And this is 55 billion way. How much Ether does this mean? We go now to our online converter and here I write 55 billion way. The transaction costs this amount of Ether. Okay, this is a small amount because a transaction costs thousands of gas units, not 11. This is just an example to keep the math simple. Anyway, the gas price is decided or is set by the market. So for example, if I say, well, I don't want to pay 50 gigaway for a gas unit, I want to pay only 1 gigaway. I can't say that because there is no miner that will validate my transaction. My transaction will remain in the memory pool with all unmined transactions and can stay there for days or even for weeks. So I must specify a value so that the miner will take my transaction and will validate it. If we want to see the gas price and other statistics, we go to this website, Ethereum gas station.info. And here we find much information. For example, the standard gas price is at this moment 10 gigaway. So you must pay 10 gigaway for one gas unit. And if you pay 10 gigaway for one gas unit, your transaction will be validated in 28 seconds and costs this amount of US dollars.